Hello, I'm Artie Blanco, and home means Nevada, and I'm proud to be a member of Team Reed, a state that elected the first Latina U.S. Senator and making Nevada a two-woman Senate state, electing a diverse congressional delegation, state constitutional elected officials, and was the first state to elect a majority female legislature. I'm running to be vice chair of the DNC to get back to basics like I've done in Nevada and as my day job at the AFL-CIO. Good question, because of the fact that the community that I come from, and I've worked in rural Texas, winning a Democratic seat that was 42% Democratic in 17 counties in West Texas. And it was a challenge. But the thing is that we have to remember, as the Democratic Party, we got to know our audience, and we got to be just be authentic to the group and the audience that we're speaking with. It's not to focus on issues that may not pertain to one community or another. It is just, if we are addressing a certain community at that moment, we need to actually be authentic in what our values are. When we look at polling tells us that on our issues and our values that Democrats believe in, voters are with us, but we're just not able to really connect with the voters personally. And that's what getting back to, yes, it does take listening, but it's building that relationship with those communities, where they are, where they live. I remember when I was like in West Texas, in Crane County, and I'm like, how am I going to connect with people here? I grew up in Houston. But it's simple. You just meet people. You talk about values. You talk about what's happening locally. And we just have to focus on that. And I'm just going to say it. I'm following with what another candidate said. The media is not helpful for us. We have to figure out how we are delivering that message and not depending on them to really ask the right stories, because they're just looking for clicks and they're looking for story ads and buys. And I get it. But at the end of the day, we've got to depend on ourselves, and it really is being authentic and building those relationships with voters that should be part and bring them back to our party, understanding what we really stand for. Hi, I love this question. And yes, I did work for Howard Dean at the DNC. I was actually the Southwest political director, and so worked in a lot of the Western states with the work that I did. The thing that we need to know is that when we started the 50 state strategy, it was a state partnership program. And that was not just funding. It wasn't just a check. I think what has happened is that it was really a partnership. And that's what we've lost along the way. And that's why I'm running for vice chair. Currently, the investments in state parties has continued. There have been resources still sent to state parties. I talked to a non-battleground state party today that mentioned that they get the same funds as they have as other states. But what we've lost is a partnership. As a staff member, I used to meet regularly with the organizers that we had hired, and talked about the strategies and the conversations that they were having with voters on the ground. And I remember talking with them about, this is about rebranding our party and bringing it back to the community and listening to what the needs are in the state. And then figuring out where and how we can invest. In fact, one of the biggest additional investments that we made was in Arizona in 2006 when they started their permanent early voting list program, and we invested extra resources that was specific to increasing our electorate and expanding that electorate for Democrats in the state of Arizona. But of course, we can always learn from that. And that's why I want to be vice chair. I'm ready to dedicate some time in the DNC to work with the team on behalf and with the chair's vision on how we continue that strategy and that partnership with state parties. It's not just about resources. It is also what are the strategies in order to win. And so I want to bring us back to that time. And we won Speaker Pelosi at that time. First of all, we will have an open primary process, nominating process in 2028. There's a lot of skeptics and a lot of folks that would throw out, who's the lead, who is going to be the next nominee, and they're going to start talking about it right after the 2026 elections. And we've got to slow that down. We've got to figure out who are the leaders and give them time and space and grace to figure out what they want to do as our president of the country. So no, there is no presumptive nominee for the next presidential election. But in terms of who our leaders are, definitely we would talk about the next body of government that we're going to win, but all elected Democrats are our leaders. All elected Democrats are part of this party. All of us are leaders in our own communities, in our own states. There is not just one leader. We are many voices, and we need to be thinking about what is the greater good and what we'll be able to put together in terms of a policy. And right now it is about 2026, moving on to the next presidential, and really making sure that we don't need to limit ourselves. Everyone has a personal story. It's that thing that everybody says, what's the Democratic message? What's the Democratic message? Everybody has their own message of why they are Democrats. We need to be authentic in how we share it and how we just get it out there, because we are all out here. So everyone's a Democratic leader. Hi, we are at a crossroads with our Democratic Party. And I'm running for vice chair at large because I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work alongside our new chair with a shared values and a shared vision about getting back to basics and reimagining the Democratic Party, going back to the reinvestments of not just dollars, but actual strategy, a real partnership. We have our job cut out for us. We've got to take back the House in 2026. We got to prepare for a presidential election. I want to be your vice chair. Vote for me.